Hey folks, imagine you're gearing up for a weekend metal project, maybe restoring a garden fence, or carving out a custom metal sign, and you're staring at that sleek, high-amp plasma cutter on the shelf. You're wondering if it's worth the invest, or if you'll end up with a machine that sputters, burns through the budget, or just sits in the garage collecting dust. I've been in that spot more than once, so I'm going to walk you through what matters before you hand over your hard-earned cash. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest hesitation most people have with a plasma cutter is the learning curve. You might have seen videos of folks slicing steel like butter, but the reality is you need a tool that feels forgiving while still delivering that clean cut. The 65-amp IGBT-based unit we are looking at claims high cutting efficiency and a user-friendly operation panel. In practice, that translates to a machine that starts up quickly, holds a stable arc, and lets you adjust amperage with a few button presses instead of wrestling with a dial while the metal heats up. For a hobbyist who's only tackling projects a few times a month, that convenience can be the difference between finishing a project or giving up halfway through. What really sets this cutter apart is its lightweight, portable design. At roughly the size of a small carry-on suitcase, you can toss it in the trunk of a pickup truck and head to a friend's job site or a community workshop without a second thought. I tested the portability by packing it for a day-long roadside metal art event. I could carry the whole setup: cutter, power supply, and a small spool of ground copper wire on one shoulder without feeling like I was hauling a brick. That kind of mobility is not just a nice to have, it actually expands where you can work. If you're restricted to a single garage space, you'll never experience the full benefit of that portability. But if you move between sites, or need a cutter for occasional field jobs, it pays off. Versatility is another selling point, and this model lives up to the claim. The machine can handle material thicknesses up to 18 mm, which covers most mild steel, aluminum, and even some stainless work. In real-world terms, I used it to cut a 12 mm thick steel pipe for a custom bike frame, then switched to a thin 2 mm sheet for a decorative wall panel, all without swapping heads or recalibrating the system. Those versatile cutting options aren't just about numbers, they mean fewer tools in your toolbox and less downtime between cuts. Now, let's talk about who should actually buy this cutter. If you're a DIY enthusiast who tackles metal projects a few times a month, need a machine that's easy to set up, and value the ability to move it around, this 65-amp unit is a solid match. It's also a good entry point for small business owners who need a reliable cutter for occasional production runs. Think custom signage shops or boutique metal fabricators. On the flip side, if you're looking for a heavy-duty industrial cutter that will run non-stop in a production line, you'll probably want a higher amperage model with more robust cooling and a larger duty cycle. Similarly, seasoned welders who already own a high-end CNC plasma system might find the feature set a bit underwhelming, especially since the cutter lacks some of the advanced automation you'd get on a pricier machine. In terms of practical strengths, the high cutting efficiency really shows up when you're working with thicker metal. The IGBT, insulated gate bipolar transistor, drive provides a stable arc, which minimizes the spit you sometimes see on cheaper units. That stability helped me maintain a clean kerf on a 15 mm steel plate, reducing the need for post-cut grinding. The user-friendly control panel is another tangible benefit. There's a clear LCD readout for amperage, voltage, and a quick access cut button that eliminates the guesswork. Even if you're not familiar with plasma terminology, the interface feels intuitive enough that you can start a cut within minutes of unpacking. However, no tool is perfect, and there are a few trade-offs you should weigh. The machine's duty cycle, while suitable for hobby work, means you need to pause after about 5 minutes of continuous cutting to let it cool down. In a day-long project, that can stretch the timeline, especially if you're cutting multiple pieces back-to-back. Also, because the cutter is designed for portability, the internal cooling fans are smaller than those on bulkier, stationary units. In hot summer conditions, you might notice the cutter's temperature climbing quicker than you'd like, which again forces those cool-down intervals. Finally, the unit doesn't come with a built-in air compressor, so you'll need an external source that can deliver at least 60 psi. If you don't already have a compressor, that adds another line item to your budget. A practical weakness I uncovered is the lack of a ground copper clamp on the unit itself. While the torch handle includes a quick connect, you still need to attach a separate